This is the Chiropractic Marketing Podcast, an on-demand talk radio show that covers internet marketing best practices for chiropractors. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick McNamara. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 63 of the Chiropractic Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick McNamara, and today we're wrapping up our comprehensive 12-week series on dominating local search by talking about the long-term strategy for maintaining and expanding your Tier 3 authority. I'm going to show you how to create a sustainable system that keeps you at the top of your market, consistently gets you recommended by AI assistants, and positions you as the go-to expert for years to come. Over the past 12 weeks, we've built something really special together. We started with Tier 1 fundamentals, mastering your Google business profile, citations, content creation, reviews, and performance tracking. Then we moved into Tier 2, optimizing your website for local search, diving into technical SEO, and building local authority through strategic content. Last week, we entered Tier 3 territory, talking about how to become the authority everywhere and get recommended by AI assistants. But here's what I've learned after helping hundreds of chiropractic practices grow their visibility. Getting to the top is one thing, but staying there requires a completely different mindset and approach. The practices that maintain their dominance year after year aren't the ones working harder. They're the ones who've built sustainable systems that compound over time. So today I'm going to break down exactly how to maintain your Tier 3 authority without burning out, and more importantly, how to keep expanding your dominance as your market and technology continue to evolve. Let's start with the biggest mistake I see practices make once they've achieved Tier 3 authority. They think they can take their foot off the gas. They've built this incredible presence, they're ranking at the top, AI assistants are recommending them, and then they stop doing the things that got them there. And you know what happens? 6 months later, they're wondering why a new competitor is suddenly eating into their market share. Here's the reality. Maintaining Tier 3 authority isn't about working as hard as you did to build it, but it does require consistent strategic effort. Think of it like maintaining your health. You don't need to spend 3 hours in the gym every day, but you do need regular exercise and good nutrition to stay in shape. The first element of maintaining your authority is creating a sustainable content calendar. When you were building your authority, you were probably creating content at a pretty aggressive pace. Educational blog posts, condition guides, video content, podcast appearances, social media updates across multiple platforms. That pace isn't sustainable long term, and it doesn't need to be. What you need instead is a strategic maintenance schedule. I recommend my Tier 3 clients create one comprehensive piece of authority content per month. This could be an in-depth guide on a specific condition, a research-backed article on emerging treatment approaches, or a detailed case study showcasing your methodology. The key is that this content needs to be substantial enough to demonstrate genuine expertise and get picked up by AI assistants. Then you're repurposing that single piece of content across multiple platforms throughout the month. You're breaking it into social media posts, creating short video clips, developing email sequences, and updating relevant pages on your website. This gives you consistent visibility across all platforms without requiring you to create entirely new content every single week. But here's where most practices drop the ball. They create new content, but forget about the goldmine they're sitting on. All that comprehensive content you created while building your authority, it needs to be updated and refreshed regularly. Search engines and AI assistants prioritize fresh, current information. If you wrote an amazing guide on sciatica treatment 2 years ago, it's time to update it with any new research, refined approaches, or additional case studies. I tell my clients to schedule quarterly content audits. Go through your highest performing content every 3 months and ask yourself what can be updated, what new information can be added, and what's changed in your approach since you first published it. This keeps your existing authority content working for you while requiring much less effort than creating brand new content from scratch. Next, let's talk about maintaining your multi-platform presence without it becoming overwhelming. When you built your Tier 3 authority, you established presence across multiple platforms because that's what AI assistants look for when making recommendations. They want to see consistent expertise demonstrated in multiple places. The key to maintaining this without burning out is automation and batching. You should be batching your content creation so you're creating multiple pieces at once, then scheduling them out over time. Most social platforms have built-in scheduling tools, or you can use third-party tools to manage multiple platforms from one dashboard. But here's what's really important. You're not just posting and ghosting. You need to actively engage on these platforms, but strategically. Set aside 15 minutes a day to respond to comments, answer questions, and engage with other content in your community. This keeps your presence active and signals to both algorithms and AI assistants that you're a current, engaged authority in your field. Now, one of the most critical aspects of maintaining Tier 3 authority that most practices completely ignore is monitoring how AI assistants are actually recommending you. The AI landscape is evolving rapidly. What gets recommended today might be different from what gets recommended 6 months from now. You need to be regularly testing how AI assistants respond when asked about chiropractic care in your area. Are you being mentioned? Are you being recommended? What specific attributes or qualifications are they highlighting about your practice? This intelligence tells you whether your authority building efforts are translating into actual AI recommendations. And here's something really important. As AI technology evolves, the signals they use to make recommendations will evolve too. What matters most today might not be what matters most in a year. The practices that maintain their authority are the ones paying attention to these shifts and adjusting their strategy accordingly. This brings me to competitive monitoring, which becomes even more critical at the Tier 3 level. You're not just tracking what your competitors are doing, you're tracking whether they're being recommended by AI assistants, whether they're appearing in new platforms or directories, and whether they're creating content that's outperforming yours. Set up monthly competitive audits where you're specifically looking at what content your top competitors have published, what platforms they're active on, where they're getting mentioned or linked to, and most importantly, whether AI assistants are recommending them when asked about conditions you specialize in. This competitive intelligence helps you stay one step ahead and identify opportunities they might be missing. But maintaining authority isn't just about defense, it's about strategic expansion. Once you've established dominance in your core market, you have the foundation to expand into adjacent areas. Maybe you're known as the sports injury specialist, but there's an opportunity to establish authority in workplace ergonomics. Or you dominate in auto accident injuries and can expand into treatment for active seniors. This strategic expansion leverages all the authority you've already built. You're not starting from scratch because you already have the trust, the content infrastructure, and the AI visibility. You're just extending that authority into new areas where there's less competition. Now here's the reality check. Maintaining all of this on your own while running a practice is nearly impossible. The practices that successfully maintain Tier 3 authority long-term have either built internal systems with dedicated team members, or they partner with specialists who can manage this ongoing optimization. This is exactly why we built DCRank the way we did. We don't just help you build initial authority, we create sustainable systems that maintain and expand your dominance over time. Our clients aren't just ranking well today, they're consistently staying at the top year after year because we've built the systems to make that happen without them having to become marketing experts. But whether you work with us or build your own system, the key principles remain the same. You need consistent but strategic content creation, regular updates to existing authority content, active multi-platform engagement that's batched and scheduled efficiently, ongoing monitoring of AI assistant recommendations, competitive intelligence gathering, and strategic expansion into adjacent opportunities. The practices that thrive long-term understand that maintaining Tier 3 authority isn't a destination, it's an ongoing process. But when you build the right systems, it becomes manageable, sustainable, and incredibly effective at keeping you at the top of your market. So as we wrap up this 12-week series, I want you to think about everything we've covered. We started with Tier 1 fundamentals, teaching you to dominate local map results through comprehensive Google Business Profile management. We moved into Tier 2, showing you how to rank higher and reach further through website optimization and local authority content. And we finished with Tier 3, demonstrating how to become the authority everywhere and build systems to maintain that position. If you've been following along and implementing these strategies, you're already ahead of 95% of chiropractic practices in your market. But remember, the real magic happens when you consistently execute these strategies week after week, month after month, year after year. Don't try to implement everything at once. Focus on mastering your current tier completely before moving to the next level. If you're still working on Tier 1 fundamentals, stay there until you've truly dominated your local map results. If you're ready for Tier 2, build that comprehensive website presence before jumping into Tier 3 strategies. And if you're operating at Tier 3, focus on building sustainable systems that maintain your authority without requiring unsustainable effort. If you want to learn more about how DCRank can help you build and maintain comprehensive authority across all 3 tiers, visit DCRank.com. That's DCRank.com. We've helped hundreds of practices systematically build from Tier 1 through Tier 3 and maintain that dominance over time. Remember, in today's AI-driven world, the practices that will dominate for years to come aren't just the ones that rank well today. They're the ones building sustainable systems that keep them at the top regardless of how technology evolves. Start building those systems today. All right, that wraps things up for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Chiropractic Marketing Podcast. Before you go, remember to subscribe to my podcast on your favorite platform, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Audible, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, or others. I've got you covered. If you need to see a full list of supported platforms, simply visit chiropracticmarketingpodcast.com. Last but certainly not least, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews not only help build awareness of what I'm talking about, but also give me a good indication of how I'm doing. Be nice, be fair, but definitely be honest. I would greatly appreciate it, and so will future listeners. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.